In this video, I'm going to explain why I use 3 laptops for my film and video production work. This is the 13-inch 2015 MacBook Pro, the last model that still had all of the ports before it went USB-C. Beneath that is a 2015 MacBook Air, and beneath that is the 2018 MacBook Pro 15-inch. First, let's start with the 13-inch MacBook Pro 2015. The reason why I still have the MacBook Pro 2015, it is still useful for work that I do that's very specific to my production. So I do a lot of event video, and I work a lot of conferences and a lot of PowerPoint presentations. So when I'm filming these conferences, a lot of times they don't have the productions that I'm working on doesn't have the budget to have a computer that they use for the PowerPoint presentations. So I've been using this computer, and I have a crew member, or I give this computer to my clients who are operating the PowerPoint, and this is very useful to do PowerPoint presentations because it still has all the ports you need, has the USB 3.0, Thunderbolt 2, which there are a lot of adapters for, has an HDMI out, which I use a lot to connect to the projectors, and it has an SD card slot. I also have loaded parallels to this MacBook Pro, so I can switch between Mac OS and Windows depending on the PowerPoint presentation and what's required for all the tech specs when I'm at these conferences. The other thing is with this MacBook Pro 2015, I have kept an older, like maybe I think 3 generations old OS on it because I have a lot of software that doesn't work anymore on the modern OS. For example, I still have Final Cut Pro 7 loaded on this computer. I still use Final Cut Pro 7 for some legacy projects, so I need a computer that can still load that software. All of the other modern OS, they don't work on it. And even the newer computers, you would have to load an older OS in order to play Final Cut Pro 7. I still use it, so I keep this MacBook Pro 13-inch with an older OS. I also really like the size. This is a very portable machine. It's not lightweight for the size, even though it's 13-inch. It's still a little bit heavy compared to even the 15-inch. This has come in handy a lot. I take it every time I'm on a live event production. Very useful. The last thing I use it for is after a shoot, when I don't have to edit. I don't use this for editing, but when I'm just transferring footage or reviewing footage, this is a great computer to have because I don't need to bring a bunch of dongles to connect when I'm plugging in a USB drive, a Thunderbolt 2 drive, or any SD cards that I shoot on my cameras. Everything's built into this one computer. I just bring this one laptop. I can plug in all my SD cards, plug in all my peripherals, and not have to bring a bunch of dongles. Now the 13-inch MacBook Air 2015, I made another video where I talked about the benefits of having a 2015 MacBook Air for writers. And I do a lot of writing, production writing, film writing, some blogs, and when I'm writing and I'm traveling, I bring the MacBook Air. The biggest benefit of a MacBook Air is the battery life. It gets about 14 hours of battery life. The MacBook Pro 2015, my battery is kind of wearing out, so I get about 7 to 8 hours before the battery dies. The MacBook Pro 2018 is about 10 hours. But 15 hours for the MacBook Air. And in a pinch, I can still use the MacBook Air to review footage because it has the USB 3.0, it has the Thunderbolt 2, which I have a lot of third-party accessories, and the SD card slot that this MacBook Air still has. Finally, I purchased the 15-inch 2018 MacBook Pro. This is as decked out as I could afford. This has 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's a 1 terabyte hard drive. It's the 2.6 6-core. I didn't normally have to edit mobily, but now I've been having to edit mobile, where I do video and photo editing on Photoshop using the Adobe Suite and Premiere Pro. So when I'm editing on the go, I need a robust tank of a computer. So I bit the bullet and I spent the extra money on a beefier MacBook Pro, even though it has the USB-C ports and it has no other ports. So I got a bunch of dongles and hubs that I now have to bring with me. As long as I have those hubs with me and all the adapters I need, this MacBook Pro 2018 is going to be my mobile editing workhorse. Obviously, I can do all of this stuff on the MacBook Pro 2018, but the benefit for me of having 3 computers is the backup, that if one dies, I have a backup, and also I can keep one as more of a personal computer and not have to worry when I lend it out. The MacBook Pro 2018, I'm saving just for the big editing that I need to do. Otherwise, I won't even bring this MacBook Pro. I like to travel as light as possible, and the MacBook Air has the bare minimum of what I need. I'm not going to edit on this. I'm just going to review some footage. But when I really need to write, when I'm doing business stuff, when I'm using Excel, you don't need anything more powerful than a MacBook Air 2015. So there you go. That's the reason why I have 3 Mac laptops.